So as most of you know, I grew up in Karachi. And in Karachi, Pakistan, in the center of the city, there is a place. It's called the Karachi Parsi Club. And when you enter through the huge wrought iron gates, you go through a long driveway on which both sides are these palm trees making a canopy. And you go through this gravel driveway, come to the parking lot. And on the left side is the bathhouse where my sister and I and a lot of my friends learned how to swim. And then on the right-hand side, there's a huge lawn which was used for celebrations, weddings, other our festivals, our holiday celebrations. And then there's a little cafeteria with a porch with tables and chairs. And then there is a building, a Tudor style building, with a snooker room and a bridge room. And behind that is the huge cricket field. And my father was the cricket captain for the club for many years. And on the side is the cricket pavilion. And that is where my parents met. My father and my mother met for the first time. But when you enter this building, the main building of the Karachi Parsi Club, a few stairs and you go up and you enter the main hall. On the left-hand side, there is a portrait of Manik Ji Dinshaw, my great-grandfather. And in the portrait, he is older and looking very stern. And right next to his portrait is a picture, same size, of his brother, Dadabhai Dinshaw. And both the brothers were called by their nicknames, Ma Bhai and Da Bhai. Now, you're probably wondering why there is a portrait of my great-grandfather and his brother in this club, in the Karachi Parsi Club. So many years ago, Karachi was not a big hustling and bustling city like it is today. It was actually a very small fishing village. And in the mid-19th century, when the British came and colonized the Indo subcontinent, they realized how important this port city was. And slowly, more people, the British started coming into this fishing village and using it as a port, as a port for shipping. And more British colonels and generals and the army started coming and settling in Karachi. And a cantonment was built there. But Karachi was hot. It's still hot. And there wasn't much to do. So these British army, people from the British army started getting really bored. So they started building their own clubs there. And a club which would have a billiard room and a card room, and there would be a cricket field behind. And the locals were allowed to come as guests, but they were not allowed any sports or games there, to play any sports or games, and they could not become members of the club. Even the elite businessmen, because now this was a big shipping port, and people, the locals who owned these shipping companies, were allowed as guests into these clubs, but they couldn't become members. They couldn't play cricket at the back in the cricket field. So the locals decided that they wanted a club of their own. So one day, the president, Mr. Kotwal of the Karachi Parsi Institute, with 75 other members of the Karachi Parsi Institute, went to Brigadier General Boyce Combe, and they asked for permission. and they said, we would like to build our own club. Now, the Brigadier General really didn't want to give them the land to build their own club. So he said, okay, because he was a little intimidated because these were all elite of Karachi, and they were also 75 men had come to him. So he was a little intimidated, but he didn't really want to give them the land. So he said, okay, fine, you can have as much land as 2 men can run with boulders and form the border of the club. And whatever border they run and form is the land you can have. So Mr. Kotwal, the president of the Karachi Parsi Institute, started wondering, who could they ask? So they knew these 2 strong men, Manikji Dinshaw, my great-grandfather, and his brother. And they went to them and asked if they would run with the boulders and form the border for the club, for the Karachi Parsis to have their own club. So on the day of finally the day came for them to create this border, the Brigadier General Boyce Combe rode on his horse, and Mr. Kotwal, the president, and the other men walked beside him till they got to the designated place. And my great-grandfather, Manikji Dinshaw, stood back to back with his brother, with 2 boulders each. And when the whistle was blown, they both started running in opposite directions. And they ran and they ran and they ran, and they set one set of boulders down, and then they ran and ran and ran and ran and put the second set of boulders down, forming the 4 corners of the border. And when the Brigadier General finally measured the land that had been encompassed, it was 55,176 square yards. That's about approximately 10 football fields. He was not happy, but he had given his word. So now the Parsis of Karachi had land where they could build their own club. And I wonder if my great-grandfather, as he was running, holding those boulders, if he ever wondered and ever thought that his great-granddaughters would learn swimming there, or if his grandson would become the cricket captain at that club, or if his grandson would meet his future wife there. Or if he ever thought that 120 years later, his great-granddaughter would tell his story. Thank you.